Now, I went out for a spin this morning. None of my cameras were charged up, so I didn't film it, but that's all it was, a little bit of about a 25-mile spin, followed by a hot cup of tea, because it's quite cool in the UK at the moment. And when I stopped for a tea, there was a fella pulled in probably 5-10 minutes after me on a much newer 1200 Scrambler, the XC. But he'd done what a lot of people on the pages and on the forums seem to do to Scramblers, which is the opposite to what I'm doing, or trying to do with mine. His had a top box, a screen, and loads of bits at it, and a single pannier on the one side, and loads of bits of bling added to it, which is exactly the opposite of what I'm doing. It looked, to me, it looked very bitty. There were bits sticking out left, right, and centre on it, which is exactly what I'm trying to not do to this. I'm trying to do the opposite. I'm trying to get rid of bits of bling. So I thought I'd run through some of the things that I've done over the time, that a lot of the tucking in of things and getting rid of unnecessary bits. Just to remind you, now I've covered these in previous videos, but it's been one at a time. I've just mentioned it when I've been out and about. So we'll start at the back and we'll work our way forwards. Right, tail light. Now this has got a Motone tail tidy on it, although quite a well modified one. It's now got a Lucas light on it, which obviously looks original and old. It's actually a reproduction Lucas light, so it's a brand new one, which I've converted to LED, so it's brighter than the original Lucas light, and it's not going to blow anytime soon, I wouldn't think. The other thing I've done is I've tucked it in. The original Motone tail tidy comes out to here, and then the light sticks out here somewhere. So I've just I chopped a chunk out of the various bits there and tucked it in, so the light is now flush with the back of the bike. Don't like sticky out bits. Now, rear indicators. That bracket there is the Motone bracket. It used to bolt just ahead of the light, and your indicators would stick out here somewhere. These are original Triumph indicators, unless I can ever justify buying the, is it the motor? I can't remember what they're called, the really small ones, Motolita. I can't remember what they're called. The really small LEDs that you can proper hide away, but they're very, very expensive. So unless I ever justify doing that, I'm going to go with the most retro looking indicators I can, which are the originals. Now I've just moved the bracket up here, so they are tucked in. So your rear view, you can still see left and right, but you can also see that they're nicely tucked in. Right, side panels. I got rid of the original ones. I didn't actually get rid of them. I've stashed them in my garage, but I got some competition number plates, made a few bits and pieces of brackets up, and I've got one of those either side. Plastic competition number plates, real easy mod, that one. On the intake side, these have covers on them. As standard, all I've done is take the covers off. The holes that the covers used to bolt to, one there and one there, are blanked with stainless steel dome-headed bolts. Gear lever, that's not an exercise in tucking anything in. That was just spring-loaded gear lever off a Honda CRF. Simply because these things have a reputation, if you drop them, you start bending shafts and parts of the gear change mechanism. That's hopefully going to lessen the chance of that happening. Horn. This is another easy one. Now this bike's actually got an auxiliary horn. It's got a klaxon as well, which I can't show you because it's tucked into the bash plate. But it's run in series with the original horn, which is now there. Piece of cake to alter that, because I didn't really alter anything. I just undid that nut, swung it back in there. The horn used to stick out here near to the exhaust. I just undid that bolt, swung it in. It's tucked behind the radiator now. So that was a dead easy one. So this is not, right, this wasn't a weather protection idea. This was just to make it look old school. Another plastic competition number plate on the front. It probably does give me a little bit of weather protection, although not very much. And I've mounted it on a bracket. You can see that there, bracket there. So there's two bolts holding the plate to the bracket, and the two bolts that hold the lower plastic cover to the speedo and to the instrument. I just put a spacer in there and bolted that to the bottom there, so I didn't have ugly brackets sticking around all over the place. Then there's the front indicators. Now they're normally would be mounted on brackets that go around the forks, so they'd stick out here somewhere. Again, they're original front indicators. All I've done is I've mounted a bracket under there to tuck them in. Headlights not a tucking in exercise, that was just a let's have a decent light on it exercise. So that's what the LED light's about. Actually, I might just, I don't know whether I can get in there. Let's just have a go here. I don't know how well this will come out, but the klaxon horn is mounted in there. Actually in between the bottom of the engine, and it's mounted to the new bash plate that I put on the bike. Right, I talked about this in the last film that I made. I've put the original, that's complete Vance & Hines now, headers, centre section, silencer, it's all Vance & Hines. The only thing that's non-standard on that is the mounting bracket. The original mounting bracket came off the silencer, curled up and went onto the top shock mount. I just got rid of that because it looked a bit cluttered and just made a little bracket up to go there. But I was talking about alterations to the twin shotgun, which is this here. Now that slides on there, and as you can see it's tucked in very well. Let's see if I can rest that there. There you go. That's roughly where it goes, and it is tucked in fairly well, but it's dead straight. Now I don't have pipe bending facilities, so I've already marked it up where I think I'm going to need to cut it. What I'm going to do is buy some stainless steel pre-bent pipe sections like these, weld them together, chop a section out of this, and then weld the bent or the pre-bent pieces, which will take a similar line to the Vance & Hines. I'll tuck in a bit more, I shall weld them to this piece and the front piece, where the spring hangers are and where the expanded bit is to fit over the headers. Now, I don't use my TIG welder very often, and I got the thing out of the garage and it needs a bit of a service, so this might take me a bit longer than I had at first hoped. I've already replaced the argon gas pipe which goes to the head of the welder, because the old one had a few splits and a few leaks along it, and I don't want to be going wasting gas for the sake of it. So I've replaced that. I've got to do new tips, a few other bits and pieces to it, because I'll be TIG welding those sections of exhaust together, and then TIG welding when the bend is complete. I'll be TIG welding that into the twin pipe system that I made earlier on. This might take me a bit longer than I thought it would, but work in progress, and there will be a film made when I've done that. Possibly you don't really want to see me welding, but because you'll hear me swearing a lot, but there might be some during the course of manufacture films coming out as well. But in the meantime, what else has happened? Well, now this week, we're the last week in March, the Tiddly Bike Night, my favourite local bike night, is restarting. That restarts in a couple of days' time on Wednesday. By the time you see this film, it will have been and gone. But unfortunately, I'm working over the other side of the country that day, so I very much doubt I'm going to be back in time to get up there. But if by some miracle I finish early, I can't imagine I will, but if I do, I'll scoot back over. I mean, you're talking 3 hours to get from where I'm going to be in the depths of Norfolk back over to the west side of the country. And if I can get back in time, I will pop up there, although I don't think the weather's going to be great, so I'm not too sure about how much filming will get done if I do make it there. If not, I will be back soon. That aside, actually, since the last film, I have done nothing to the bike apart from put the Vance & Hines system back on, which is sort of a 10-minute job. Nothing else. I've done nothing else. I've done no miles on it. I've done less than 100 miles on it in the last 10 days, so you know, apart from checking tyre pressures and the regular things, I've not had to do anything to it. So keep watching this space. Thank you for watching this space. I'm very nearly, for some strange reason, at 170 subscribers. I was 169 at the last time I looked. By the time you see this, that might have crept up. But thank you anyway for all those of you that have subscribed. And for those of you that haven't, please do. Take care, and I will see you soon. Thanks for watching.